3, 2, 1. Wicket, wicket.
All right, here we go. We are calling Steve. Love the dancing.
No, you guys haven't done a dance break in a long time.
Dance break.
That's true. We'll do one later.
Hello.
Hello, is this Steve?
Yes, sir.
Steve, how are you? This is Outsider Tackle Box radio show and podcast. We got Tommy and Felix in the studio. Say hi, fellas.
What's going on, Steve?
Hi, fellas.
How you guys doing?
We're doing
We're
all right.
doing good. I have to prep them, otherwise they won't say hi.
Shut up.
I have to tell them like that's your cue, or it gets skipped right over. And it's like they got front row seats to a show, and they're just watching me do it all. So I have to tell them it's your turn to say hi.
Lines?
Yeah.
We're trying to figure out how a 12-year-old boy got his own show.
This is not a show you'd pay to see.
All right.
You're
So
like a 40-year-old boy.
we're spreading happiness to the world through the joys of fishing. Fishing is therapeutic for a lot of people. It's just fun, and so people enjoy the story and the format. When you send in a photo, is just to let us know where you caught the fish, the bait that you were using, and the size of it. And you sent in 3 different fish stories. You have plenty of time, and we have you actually you have the rest of the show. So,
Yeah, you're the last caller, so
and
have
we
at it,
understand that you know our good friends from Columbia River Hookers and our
Ryan.
beer sponsor out of Boardman, Oregon, Ordnance Brewing. Thank you very much for Ordnance Brewing providing the beer for today's show.
The alcoholic beverage for the show.
So we want to give you as much time as you need. Let's hear, this is your podcast. Let's hear your fish stories.
All right. Well, the 2 are some of the springers from about a year and a half ago, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And those were caught on the Umatilla.
Okay.
And it was good towards the end of the day. And the fishing was really good, but we were catching a lot of the wild, so we had to throw them back.
Mm-hmm.
And it was getting towards the end of the day, and I was getting ready to call it a day, and got lucky. I was bouncing some roe, and that first one, that hammered it.
Nice.
So you caught those salmon on just putting roe on there, huh?
Yeah, it was just
Little treble hook.
bouncing.
Nice.
No, just a little single.
Little single hook.
About
single
some
hook
roe
roe.
on the Umatilla. Yep, on the Umatilla up here, and ended up being one of the biggest fish I've ever caught out of there. It was just over 20 pounds.
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah,
nice,
that was. Yep, and then they got the other one about 5 minutes after. Same thing, same spot.
Nice. You just hit that little money
Yeah.
spot for.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
got a couple coming through.
It's always good when you find a
And
good
then-
spot like that.
Now that sturgeon
Yeah.
that sturgeon that you got there in the second picture, where was that one at? Was that off the out in the Columbia or?
Yeah, that was out in the Columbia.
Yeah, buddy.
And yeah, and actually I was out with another buddy that there was a guy that's he's starting up a YouTube channel, trying to get his kicked off, and
Mm-hmm.
he's friends with the guys from Addicted Fishing, and they wanted to film some content, so we went out. We get out there about 7:30. There's some guys out the room. We're like, "Well, how's the fishing, guys?" They're like, "Oh, well, we've been here since 3:30. These guys have been here since before us, and we haven't touched a fish." Well, that's gonna be fun. I'm gonna take this guy out, try to get him some fish on the boat. That's sketchy.
Mm.
We moved about 200 yards down from those guys, and within 5 minutes of getting the rods in the water, we had our first fish on.
Nice. That's kind of what
Yeah,
happens
it was-
to me. I'm the other guy in that story where I'll be fishing for an hour, and then Tommy will just come in and like catch a fish, and then he'll do the crotch chop.
Yeah, I
Like he'll
usually
be
tell
like,
Paul to suck
yeah,
it.
he'll be like, "Hey, Paul," and he'll like crotch chop me, and it'll be like, boom, and then tell me like that I'm terrible, or like he'll say you suck or something like that. I mean, that's
I'm sorry, the truth hurts, but that's just what it is.
and then he'll fall down from just the weight because his balance is not that good. He'll like crotch chop it, and he's a little bit top heavy. So
I'm like
if
lamp,
he moves a little bit
shapes.
too much to one side, he'll just like fall over, which is beautiful.
I'm just shapes. I'm like a lava lamp. I just move. Once if you get it moving too much over to one side, it just has to follow.
You ever balance
It's
a
like his
potato
knees
on
buckle.
toothpicks?
Your knees buckle. You're like crotch chop, knee buckle, and then it's like
Timber.
that's what you get, a-hole.
Whatever.
All right, sorry to interrupt. You just happened to. I mean, that reminded me of like me not catching fish and Tommy
Which is all
crotch
the time.
chopping.
That's hilarious.
Yeah,
But yeah, that day, we went out 7:30, and at 9:00, we already had 9 fish to the boat. And
Nice.
the last two, my buddy that I was with, for whatever reason, we decided not to take pictures of both of the fish because we ended up the last two. We hooked up at the same time, and they ended up both being keepers.
nice.
Yeah, we got some dirty looks from the guys on the bank in the other boat, but.
It's not your fault they suck.
Sorry.
So, what do you get out of it? I'm going to mean mug you from across the river.
Your setup's all wrong, and then
That deserves a crotch chop. That's what Steve should have done. Just said, "Hey, suck it," and held up a sturgeon and been like, "You suck." Just saying.
you know what? If I'm not catching fish and my setup I think is good, but you're catching fish, I'll change my setup to mimic whatever it is that you're doing.
and then you still can't catch anything.
Still not catch any fish.
Bro, I mean, that doesn't guarantee I'm going to catch a fish. I'm just
Does
thinking
for
maybe the setup might be wrong. So if you're not even trying to change it up, yes,
Yeah.
you're right. It does probably deserve a crotch chop.
Absolutely. Anytime anybody
Why don't you do
mugs
a
you,
video crotch chop
I will later.
for Steve so he can see it when we upload his video?
When
Just
we do
like
it on when we
crotch
do it
chop
on when we do it on the Facebook Live, I'll crotch chop live. I'll crotch chop live.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, but no, like I mean, anybody that is mean mugging anybody else while they're fishing because they're not catching anything, they deserve that. They are asking for it.
You're a real nice
and
guy.
to be honest, I mean, they're quite lucky that I wouldn't have mooned them from across the lake.
That's a lot of moon.
There's a lot of
that's
moon.
A big,
But I would have been
that's
like,
a
hey,
full moon.
the moon's out early today, boys.
Well, that's what we call
Boom.
a harvest moon.
Dude, because you imagine their faces? Because at that point, how could you just even be like, oh, that guy ain't got... Is that a butt across the river?
They had to put like sunglasses on because like that's the part of you that doesn't get any sun ever.
Exactly. Like, that's really, really bright.
They say it's where the sun don't shine, but why is it so bright?
Why is it so bright?
Is that a star?
Got him out the spotlight sturgeon.
That's it. That's it. Maybe the sturgeon will start biting at that point. But I don't know, man. I can't stand people that do that kind of thing, man. They just sit there and give you dirty looks. Like, we get it all the time at the lakes and stuff. We're out there catching stuff, and people sit there and look at you like, "What are you doing?" It's like, dude, I'm sorry. I know how to fish, and you just showed up. I don't know what to tell you, dude. You suck.
Those are beautiful looking fish. I wish I would be able to, I want to one day go out there and catch a sturgeon and a salmon. Those are two things I haven't really touched yet. I tried.
We went all the way to Hermiston, Oregon when we went up there to visit Ryan and everybody, and Paul caught the shad of a lifetime.
I caught the shad of a lifetime. And I loved every moment of catching that shad, especially the fact that I was the only one to actually pull a fish up on the boat, even though I couldn't pull up the shad. Like I was too weak.
Let me emphasize on the fact of why he was the only one that caught anything. Me and Felix were asleep for about 90% of that because Felix drove 17 hours from Southern California all the way up to Hermiston, and
Paul slept.
Sleeping Beauty back here just slept the whole time. Then when we got up there, he was ready to drink and party. So we went to Ordnance. We went to the neighbor dudes. This guy drank himself stupid.
True story. So, but let's hear this good. What do you
Let's just
recommend
stop it there.
for? Well, it's a fishing show, so I want.
Well, I'm just saying
he's caught some big
that's
fish.
why you caught the fish.
What
and we didn't.
is what do you recommend if somebody's never been out there like myself and they're trying to catch some salmon and some sturgeon? What would you recommend for the setup, or you could just tell us what you were using? I know you said a little bit about some single hook roe. What's a good bait for salmon, and what kind of test line should I take? And then same thing for the sturgeon. What's a good bait? I'm guessing shad because that's what I was trying to use.
Mm-hmm. A lot of varies on if you're going for the sturgeon, if you're going for oversized or keepers. That day we were using squid.
Mm-hmm.
Squid.
Most of the time we're using squid unless we go for oversized, and then we'll put the shad on and the oversized like suck that stuff down. The salmon also, again, it depends if you're on fishing the Umatilla or the Columbia. The Umatilla feeds into the Columbia. In the Columbia, we're usually trolling quick fish with tuna belly. Mm-hmm. And if we go up on the Umatilla, depends also, again, how far up we go. If you're on the boat, either bobber fishing with roe or
Those are fun
spinners.
when you use a bobber. Yeah.
Yeah, they're a blast. But then further up where those ones were, there's a spot like a man-made waterfall.
Mm-hmm.
I just fished right off the bottom with the roe that I cured up myself.
Nice.
Yeah.
You know what I am having fun with every time you say Umatilla. Isn't that a fun word to say?
Hold on.
Well, first off, you're
It's
saying it wrong.
Umatilla.
Oh,
It's
Umatilla.
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 God, just
Okay.
shut up.
It's a fun word, isn't it? That's a fun word to say. Umatilla.
Especially if you screw it up.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, exactly.
That's what I do.
You would think he's doing it on purpose, but he's not.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
really
the
not.
sad part. He's really
He's
not
actually
doing
trying.
it on purpose. Like
I open the show sometimes saying outsider tacklebacks. Like that's just normal.
he
That's
just
what
can't
I do.
freaking talk.
But
Paul has trouble with it.
That's a cool word to say, Umatilla.
With the English.
Umatilla. There's fish in the Umatilla. All right.
Now he's going to be using it.
Yeah, that's his new big word of the day.
Big
Yay,
word.
Big word.
We love big words. If you have any, we'll pause for a second just to explain to Tommy what pelagic means.
And I'll
or
explain back how to pronounce it. So there you go.
unbeknownst.
We're done.
Or
Umatilla.
Umatilla,
Yeah.
which is a river in Oregon.
Oh.
It's also a town up there.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Yes.
We drove through it.
National Geographic, these two. Umatilla.
Oh, sorry. Wait. He was asleep.
How many
That's right, he
times?
missed it.
How many
Missed
times do you
everything.
think I will say that word before this podcast is over?
God, I hope no more because I feel bad for the people in Umatilla.
Okay.
Like, I feel bad. They're
Do
probably
you?
sitting there listening and they're like, this guy's a moron.
We're giving Umatilla a lot of free airtime and
Yeah, they're all going to
free
show
press.
up and say, how you say the name of your town?
Anyway.
All right, so
Steve,
that's
Steve,
a good
the
setup.
next time we head up there, man, I would like to invite you over to Neighbor Dudes and whatnot to hang out with us and fish with us the next time we hit up the Columbia. Were you there when we were up there? Did you make it by the shindig?
I didn't make it there. I was actually out of town, but I knew you guys were up there.
Yeah, see, I would have loved to meet you, man. I mean, we met so many people.
There was a lot of people.
There
up
was
there.
a lot of people. I mean, we were rubbing elbows and taking pictures and all sorts of stupid stuff. I mean, people are like, oh, take a picture with me. I'm like, why? I'm ugly. But I
Yeah,
mean,
you are.
Do you got a wide angle camera?
I'll be like, I'll be in the back smoking a cigarette because I just, yeah. But no, I mean, it was a blast, man, and we're looking forward to getting up there again, and hopefully we get to meet up with you this time, and you know, drink a couple beers and shoot the crap a little bit. I mean, I'd love to hang out with you, man.
We'll go fishing.
Anybody with a beard that great, you know they know how to fish, and you know they got
Yes.
some stories. That's why you don't have a beard, and when you try to grow one,
I
you
shaved
look
it.
like
I shaved it
you
off.
look like a patchy little like teenager, like with little patches of hair. You're like, hey, what's up, guys? I just started growing this in.
Someone that shouldn't be around school children.
What?
You know the type.
Oh man.
So thanks for coming on the show. We're going to send you some free stuff. Just send us where to shoot you that offline. And then we also have a fish story blog. If you have any more fish stories, you could just put it in a written form. It doesn't have to be like too elaborate. Just where you caught, same thing where you caught the fish, bait you're using and the size, and we'll promote that to you. If you have an Instagram or YouTube. Go ahead and tell anyone who's listening where to follow your page, and if you have a YouTube, we'll try to get you some followers there too. Because that's what we do. We love local artisans, local fishermen who are trying to build up their YouTube channel for entertainment. So you go ahead and if you have one or want to share I know you mentioned a buddy's channel, you can go ahead and do that now. You can just give us your handle.
Yeah, so I don't have YouTube right now. That's the next step, but I do have Instagram. It's you can find me at Brown2125. And if you want to check out Eastside Grind for the YouTube stuff, that's a buddy TJ Hester. And that's where you find a lot of it. Same thing, he does tons of fishing content. It doesn't necessarily have to be techniques or anything that it just has anything to do with fishing, same as you guys.
That's what we're about. Anything to do with fishing. I mean, you can tell us about fishing. You can tell us techniques. You can tell us a story. You can tell us a joke. I mean, it's all in good fun, and we just enjoy that part of it. And you can definitely hit us back up. Send more pictures. We'll put you back on the show. We'll put you. I mean, we just enjoy hearing from now what we call the outsider family. We're all one big group, and we're all we all have fun, and it's fun. It's a fun place to share everything.
All right.
Yeah.
So from all of us here at
I'd love to do that kind of show with you guys.
Yeah, and we appreciate you guys and everything you guys do, and you guys help us out by giving us stories to talk about.
From all of us here at Outsider Tackle Box Studio, Tight Lines, Fish More. Stay tuned. We're going to give away some free stuff on our YouTube Live and our Facebook Live. We're going to do that in just a second, but you already won, and so thank you very much for coming on the show. You're welcome back anytime. It's been a pleasure, Steve. If you know anybody who wants to come on the show, like your buddy with the YouTube or anybody, anybody's welcome.
Yep.
All right, appreciate it, guys.
All right, bud. Take care. Have a good one.
Have a good one.
All right, bye.